Sherwin in Boston, Massachusetts, who wants to prove that God via the Jewish people throughout history. You're on with Tracy and Jen.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Great to be on.
Well, thanks for calling.
I just want to say before I begin, you two are much more better looking than Matt Dillahunty, so I'm glad I get to talk to you two instead of Matt. So thank you. Anyway, so what I wanted to say is throughout history, the Jewish people have been persecuted and have been killed and mocked and bullied and all that, but we've survived. And in the Bible, God said He would always look out for the Jewish people. And we're still here, and we're thriving. We're businessmen. We're thriving monetarily and science and film and all this great stuff. Jews are doing great despite nations persecuting us, and that proves without a shadow of a doubt God is real. If I could just give one quick example. Look at Israel, for example. Israel is surrounded by nations that have vowed to destroy it, but it's still here. It's still thriving, and it's a light in the barbaric Middle East. So that, to me, proves without a shadow of a doubt that God exists.
Okay, so you have low standards of proof is what we're looking at here, right? I mean, basically, a nation is doing well, and you think that means God exists.
A whole group of people. I just gave one example.
A nation. I mean, a nation is a pretty big group of people, right?
Well, okay, yeah.
I mean, I acknowledge it's a nation, but I mean, if we had this conversation during the Holocaust, how would this be going?
Well, I mean, God said there would be hard times. He didn't make it.
Right. So what you're saying is that sometimes the Jews go through some real massive crap, and sometimes things go well for them. Therefore, God.
Well, no, because we've always been a small nation. It even says in the Bible, God said, "I didn't choose you because you're very numerous."
So there are small nations, therefore God.
No. Okay. We're a small nation. We've been bullied by other nations. The worst of it was obviously Nazi Germany. Very bullied, killed, massacred.
Yeah, how awful. It's amazing that your God would let that happen to you. That's really messed up, don't you think?
Yeah. It's amazing that not only have we survived, but we thrived. I mean,
right, but people were slaughtered and massacred and tortured and experimented on in some of the most horrific historical ways that we've ever heard of. You're telling me that that's an example of your God taking care of you? What would happen if your God didn't want to take care of you?
No. God gives
like
people
the Chinese,
free will. So,
where you had this long-standing culture
I'm sure, you probably heard this a million times.
Wait, what?
You probably heard this. I'm sorry, you probably heard this a million times before, but God gives people free will. So any bad action that people have taken, it's their own fault.
I thought you said God took care of the Jews.
Yes.
But then if everybody has free will to basically torture you, how is He taking care of you? If I say that I'm your parent and I'm taking care of you because you're my child, but I let the neighbors come over and torture you because I like the fact that I want them to have free will, even if it means torturing you, am I really taking care of my kid?
No.
Yeah, no.
You don't understand. I don't think you're understanding now.
No, I don't think you're understanding. You're basically saying that your God that takes care of you let some of the most historically horrific stuff ever done on the planet that we know on record happen to your people as a group, targeted specifically as a group. And God sat by and watched that crap and did nothing. And you're saying that this is proof of your God and that He cares about you?
If I may, God in the Bible says to always trust Him. So if everything was always perfect and everything went great for the Jews, if there was never any problems, then where's the trust in God? We have to always trust God.
So if your parents let you be tortured, it's because they want you to trust them?
No. It's not. But you're making it seem like it's God's fault. It's not God's fault.
No, if the neighbor comes over and tortures you and your parent is aware of it and they let it happen because they respect your neighbor's free will, is that your parents' fault or not?
Well, no, because God has no. Let me explain. You see, I don't think you're very understanding. Maybe I'm not being articulate enough. It might be my fault, but
I think you don't understand the argument you're presenting.
No, you're saying something really horrific, and
Yeah.
it's basically demonstrating how messed up a religion can make a person's brain. I mean, you are showing the immorality that people will adopt and excuse in order to say that a God is good that would allow some of the most horrific suffering we've ever seen on the planet. Especially what's ironic is that you're picking the group who was the target of the most horrific suffering in the world that we are aware of, and you're saying that this is a demonstration of a loving God taking care of them. And I'm basically saying that if this was a parent that let that happen to their kid, you wouldn't say, well, that's not the parent's fault. Sure it is, if they're supposed to be taking care of you.
But you don't understand. We defeated all our enemies. We kicked Hitler's ass. We did everything, and now we're thriving. We're
The Jewish
kicking
people
all the
didn't-
asses.
Wait.
It doesn't matter if the Jews did it or not. I wouldn't care if y'all did uprise and, take over and grab the guns and take over the guard. How in the hell does this prove a God exists? Like, what makes you think that a God is involved in this? This is all crap that people did.
Because of the success of the Jewish people.
Success does not prove a God exists.
Yeah.
People are successful at crap all the time. It does not prove a God exists. How is success evidence of a God?
But per capita, I think it's fair to say that the Jewish people in many industries, science, business, film, we're the most successful people per capita in the entire world.
Yeah, I don't
And not
care.
only every-
Somebody's going to be the most successful demographic. Just because I say, like, for example, some people would argue that in many parts of the world, white men are the most successful demographic. Do you think that proves that they're God's favored people? Because they sure thought that when they started with Manifest Destiny.
Yeah, but ever since Jesus was crucified and the Romans made a horrible mistake by vilifying Jews have been persecuted so much. We've been persecuted time and time again, and we didn't even have a nation until 1947.
Yeah, let me. I got to try this one more way. And I'm sorry because I keep cutting off Jen, but this is like, let's say that you have a business where you sell widgets, right?
Yeah.
Some widget is going to be your best-selling widget, right? One of the widgets is going to be the best-selling widget, right?
Sure.
Is the fact that you have a best-selling widget proof of God?
Well, I don't think you're understanding the analogy very well. Because
somebody's going to be the most successful. And you're saying that if you're the most successful, it's proof of God.
But the Bible got it right. The Jews, despite being probably the smallest population on the entire earth, I don't know the exact numbers, but I think they're the smallest population on the earth. We don't have the mass amount of people to bully or intimidate people, yet we survive and we thrive thanks to...
Yeah, there are a lot of tribes in the Amazon that would rival your population. Right?
Yeah.
Lots of tribes in the Amazon, very small groups. But anyway, I keep interrupting Jen. I'm going to let her have a chance.
Well, my question here is, are you saying you're Jewish?
Yeah, I'm a Messianic Jew, yes.
Oh, okay. So that's why you brought up Jesus.
Well, yeah, I brought up Jesus because, I'm a Messianic Jew. I believe Jesus is the Messiah. But there was a tragedy, the Romans vilified the Jews, and that just caused a big rift between the Gentiles and the Jews. And ever since then, a lot of Gentiles, not all, a lot of Gentiles persecuted Jews, and there was a lot of, barbarism and violence. And, yeah, it was a tragedy. So that's why I brought that up.
So you're part of the Jews for Jesus group. Just want to
Jews for Jesus, whatever you want to call it. Messianic, Jews for Jesus, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter.
I just wanted to clarify what your beliefs are, because I noticed that you brought up Jesus.
Okay, but the argument here is that you think that this is evidence of a God because you believe God does stuff like this. What makes you think God does stuff like this?
You mean like protecting Jewish people, you mean?
Yeah,
or,
what makes you think that if there's a God, he even cares about people?
Well, it says, I know you don't believe in the Bible, but it says plain as day that God looks out for the Jewish people. And I think if you see the evidence, how the Jews are thriving despite being, bullied, violently murdered, discriminated against, how we still thrive and do great stuff.
So somebody in the past believed that God was looking out for them, and now you believe God is looking out for you, and you have like a common lineage, and so you believe that that the fact that they agree with you means that that's evidence?
I wouldn't say it if I didn't have the proof. I mean, look at all and even just in modern times, look at all.
I think you would say it if you didn't have the
Jews.
proof, because I think you are saying it and you don't have the proof. The fact is that if there is no God, none of the stuff you're describing is caused by a God, right?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
If there is no God, then none of the stuff you're describing is caused by a God. Would that not be hypothetically a correct statement?
I guess hypothetically, but if there was no
hypothetically,
God,
if there's no
wiped out long ago.
You don't know that.
Yeah, you don't.
You don't know that. There's no control here.
I know.
You're just looking at what happened and saying,
sure.
you're looking at what happened and you're saying the result is the evidence of a God. And what I'm saying is, if there's no God, then it's not the result of a God. Then people could do it. You're claiming that people couldn't do this. And I'm saying you don't know that people couldn't do this. Maybe people did do it and you're confused.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think.
I know you don't think so, but you have no evidence that what I just said is not correct, other than your opinion.
I'm trying to say, if you just look at the evidence, how Nazi Germany, there was Inquisition, there was pogroms in Russia, all that stuff.
What makes you think there is a God that even gives a crap about any of that stuff?
Well, I think the proof is in the pudding, how he said the Jews were his chosen people.
No, another Jew said that.
Right.
Other Jews said that, right? So Jews say this. Why is Jews saying it evidence?
Okay, they wrote that down, and they could have hypothetically been horribly wrong.
Yeah, well, it could have been just easily wrong, not even horribly wrong, just simply wrong. Lots of people attribute crap to God.
We have proof they weren't wrong. We have proof they were 100% correct.
No. But here's the thing. Let's say that they said, hey, the Jews will endure, and they're 100% correct. How does that prove just because Jews endured that means that a God told them that? Isn't it possible Jews could endure even if God didn't do that? If I say that, hey, the fact that the Native American Indians have not, disappeared off the face of the earth after all that genocidal crap that was done to them proves that, they're God's chosen people and that whatever they believe religiously is true. Because they said it too.
Yeah, how could a group of people, well, I think we're less than, I don't know, it's such a small number of percentage of the world population, but we've been bullied by every single nation we've been in. Every single nation Jews have been in, that we've been bullied, murdered, forced out, exiled unfairly. Yet we've always survived and we've come back and we've been better than ever before.
And you have trouble crediting the Jews for doing that. For some reason, you don't think that the Jews should get credit for that. You think that it must be divine intervention because Jews aren't capable of doing that for themselves. Is that the point?
Not when you have such a small population.
Okay, so Jews are incapable of looking after themselves, and even with allies and stuff, they can't do it. This has to be a divine hand of God because you believe it.
No. For example, if Jews had the same number of people of the world's population as just, white Gentile people, I wouldn't call it a miracle necessarily. But since we're such a small percentage of the population, we've been bullied, harassed, done so many horrible things have been done to us. How can you explain that without divine intervention?
Because people can do shit.
Yeah.
Right? Well, people are capable of stuff.
I don't think any group of people without divine intervention.
I know you don't think it, but that doesn't make it evidence. The fact that you can't imagine it doesn't make it evidence, doesn't mean that it didn't happen. The fact that you can't believe that Jews are capable of doing this doesn't mean that they're not capable of doing it. It just means this is an argument from incredulity. You're basically saying, I can't possibly conceive of how Jews could be capable of this, therefore a God must have done it. That's not really evidence. That's a fallacy.
With all due respect, I don't think you're seeing the evidence. I think I'm laying the evidence clearly before you.
All right, well, I've done as good as I can. Is it fair enough to say that your evidence is that you think the Jews have done remarkably well and you don't believe the human beings are capable of it? Is that basically what your argument boils down to?
I think because the Jews are such a small group of people.
Yeah, you don't think the Jews could do this, they did it, and so you think it must be a God. If that's all we've got to say, then I'm done with this conversation. Do you have anything to add?
Okay, the only thing I want to say is people can check out my YouTube channel, Sherwin Stern, if they want to find out more about my views on religion, politics, all that stuff. But
yeah, I'll let you plug your site. I'll let you plug it. That's fine. And you can plug it at the blog, too, if you want to. Go ahead and post it there. And we don't have any rules against you doing that. You called the show. You gave your arguments. You gave your plug. And thanks for your call.